In 2005, in his annual address to Russia's upper house of parliament, the Federal Assembly, Russia's President Vladimir Putin called the collapse of the USSR the largest geopolitical catastrophe of the last century, of the 20th century. There were many catastrophes in the 20th century. Two bloodiest wars the humankind has ever seen: World War I, World War II, Holocaust, rise of fascism in Germany, rise and reign of communism for 70 years in the USSR, Stalin's Red Terror and Holodomor. Yet, Russian president singled out one event, the collapse of the USSR, the result of Russian people uprising and fighting for freedom, and called it the biggest catastrophe of the 20th century. That phrase of his is actually quite known and quite remembered, both in Russia and in the rest of the world. Many people have guessed what meaning Vladimir Putin had when he said that. I have wondered myself for a long time too, and today I had an insight. Today I finally understood what he meant back in 2005, and I'd like to share my understanding and insight with you today. Howdy, howdy everyone, and I have quite a message for you today. My name is Konstantin. Welcome to Inside Russia, where I give you important news updates that explain what's truly happening inside Russia. What you will not find here is propaganda, BS, and lies, but what you will find is common sense, truth, and logic, and emotions too, because I am a human being. Inside Russia is where usual Russia is explained by the unusual Russian. For the first or so minutes, I give you my daily message and then invite everyone to carry on to live stream chats where we converse and I answer questions, and this is my personal best part of the stream. So let me start with a personal story today. I was growing up in the USSR in the late 70s and the 80s. Spent much time at my grandparents' house. They had a little garden. I was going to say a farm, but it was so little it cannot be qualified as farm. Too small. Piece of land of something like 650 square yards, 550 square meters, 14% of 1 acre. Yes, 0.14 of acre. A tiny piece of land, but they were lucky to have that. On that land, they had a couple of small barns with 1 cow and 2 pigs, and a small garden where they grew seasonal tomatoes, cucumbers, potatoes, of course, Russian staples, bell peppers, and, things like that. Once a year, one of the 2 pigs was killed. Everything was done by the hands of my uncle and my grandpa, and once a year the meat was taken to a market to the nearby big city, Rostov. My grandparents lived just right outside of Rostov, couple miles. In Rostov, there was one small market, and supposed to be farmers' market, but there were no farmers there. And that's just for the entire city of 1 million people. They were state-owned shops, food stores, food shops, and just one market in the middle of a city. It was called Rostov Bazaar. Basically, it was not farmers' market. It was mafia's market. They were boys in charge, but they were really pawns because the mafia, real mafia, was Soviet police. Local cops controlled everything. So once a year, we had some pork to sell, and my Grandpa hired a truck, and the meat was taken, the excess of meat, I should say, was, and some lard was taken to that market. I remember those times well because I helped Grandpa a couple times, and I remember the process so vividly because I loved that experience. I loved going to bazaar. I loved selling meat. I loved, discovering this new world. It was great. I was like 5 or 6, 7 years old, but it was absolutely fantastic time. I still remember that vividly in my head. But every time that we did that, not too many times, just a few times, the Grandpa ran into, I should say, challenges. In order to be able to sell at the market, he needed 3 permissions from the government. First permission was from the local veterinarian, who was certifying that the meat was good. And of course, the veterinarian didn't give such permission until his palms were greased. Obviously, he didn't really check the meat. He just stamped the paper and, in exchange for some money. Then there was a second permission needed from the general director of the collective farm, or the village that my grandpa lived in. The director had to write an evaluation of character, so-called характеристика. Such a stupid thing. Basically a paper where it was stated that my grandpa was a trustworthy citizen of the USSR. He loved Lenin and Karl Marx. He attended all Communist Party events, rallies. He followed party line, etc. And of course, the director wanted his palm greased as well. Money here and there. The director would give this evaluation anyway, but depending on how much money he received, he gave different kind of evaluation. The more money, the better evaluation was. When a good document, a good характеристика was obtained, it was taken to the local market police post. Yeah, it was local station, tiny station, right overseeing the market. And based on the presented papers, the cops gave permission to sell a certain amount of meat for certain hours. Basically, what they did, they gave a window of a few hours. And from what I remember, a regular ordinary citizen could not sell more than once, could not have more than one window of a few hours every 6 months, twice a year. And of course, the local police wanted their fair share of the profits from meat. Once the deal was done, they would give such a paper, and then my grandpa could hire a truck, to take the meat into the bazaar, the market, and, would start selling. He never sold meat for a living, it was just a single time event, so it was always interesting. I noticed one thing when I was helping my grandpa. There were other vendors selling fresh produce all around me. We sold meat every May, I remember well. And one time I asked my grandpa, I said, "Grandpa, why don't we come here once in a while and sell things that we grow? Parsley, tomatoes, cucumbers, maybe some potatoes. Look how expensive these things around us being sold for. I mean, we could just make some money." And a cop happened to stand right next to us, not too far, and he overheard the conversation. He heard what I said. He looked at my grandpa and told him, in a very serious look on his face, "Old man, you'd better explain this boy that in Soviet Union an honest person, an honest peasant cannot grow and sell things for profit. The sooner he knows, the safer he'll be." Ooh, I still remember, I must have been 6 years old. My grandfather freaked out. His face changed. He became pale. He got scared. I got scared from seeing how my grandfather was scared. He told me angrily two things I still remember. He said, "Don't ever say that we grow anything at home, especially when the cops are around, because we cannot grow anything and sell." And another thing he said, I told him, "But Grandpa, look, all these people, they're selling all around us." And he said, "Those people don't grow things themselves. Most of them work for the cops. The minute we start selling our tomatoes here, I'll get arrested." And the second thing he told me, never speak so when militia is near you. I still remember those two phrases very clearly. Okay, whoa, I was scared. You see, in the USSR, peasants, were not allowed to grow anything and sell. It was considered a felony, a very serious crime. Illegal entrepreneurial activity. Article 175 of Criminal Code of the USSR, RSFSR, only with special permissions. And such permissions were so rare. It was like exception to the rule, so to speak. So just like the permissions they gave for selling meat. So you could do it once in a while, but you couldn't make it like your main activity, your main source of income. Why? Well, plain and simple. In the USSR, people were somewhat enslaved. And making honest business was one of the biggest crimes. For one simple reason. When people start doing business, they start working for themselves, not taking orders from others, let alone the state. They become free. And when people start making money, they start making profits, they become independent, God forbid. And they don't need the state anymore. And they start asking questions, and they start wondering. And the biggest question is, what the fudge is going on? So they get all kinds of questions. Obviously, the USSR bosses didn't like that very much, so they outlawed doing business, making it a mortal sin. Well, the USSR ceased to exist on December 29th, 1991, and Russia was born. The country I loved, it was tough and very rough on the edges, but it was my country that I loved. A little off topic, sorry. One of the first executive orders that country's new president, Boris Yeltsin, signed was of liberty of trade, о свободе торговли. That order was signed on January 29th, 1992, 1 month after the collapse of the USSR. That document gave Russian citizens complete freedom of doing business. People could buy, could sell, could manufacture, could grow, they could create products and sell them. And no one could even ask and wonder what kind of products, how they do it, and so forth. They were liberated. I consider that decree a huge stone in the foundation of freedom of Russia. I consider it hugely important because it stripped the government of power to control people. Russians became free. They started depending on themselves. They could sell anything, anywhere. No permissions, no licenses, no police control, nothing. Boy, the revolution followed immediately. At first, it was chaotic. People didn't know how to do business, but they had desire to make ends meet. All of a sudden, a new area of life, previously closed, opened up for them. And there's so many people started doing business. At first, it was not pretty. Well, I'm telling you, early 90s, no. First of all, mafia flourished. The government control basically ceased to exist, and mafia was born. Another thing, people didn't know how to do things right. So they were just basically, you could see people selling everything anywhere. On the roads, on the walkways, you know, anywhere. But the foundation of the new country was being built back then. You see, small-time street vendors were making money. They were saving up. They were learning. They were opening shops. They were making shops nicer. They were competing with each other. They were making their products more attractive. Okay, they were making service more attractive. You know, more customer-friendly and customer-oriented. People were learning. I mean, how do you suppose to change one system into another overnight without any mishaps, without any challenges? It doesn't happen. So in Russia, there were quite a few challenges, but my God, the Russians were liberated. For the first time, most likely in Russia's history, people decided what to do for themselves. No government control. By 2005, Russia had made a huge leap forward. Russia became advanced. When I returned from the USA to Russia, I found completely different country. And it was due to one thing. People were free to do business, competition. People were learning. People were advancing. People were better in their businesses. People were just making life in Russia better and better. And still, there was not much control of the government over people. But guess what? The government did not like that much. There were some people, some particular people in the Russian government who hated not having control, who hated that the Russians were free to do things that they wanted to do, who hated that Russians were allowed to do business freely, not being controlled by anyone from the above. And in 2005, Putin made his infamous speech. And we all know well what followed. I will not talk of the transformation, the negative transformation, the tragic transformation that Russia has gone through in the last 15 years. I will not speak of what happened in Russia. I made numerous streams and I talk about it every single day, so you know. If you don't, go and watch my older streams. But why this stream? Why I think that today is important? Why I think that HYDRA is back? You know, why is this reborn? And why today? Well, now I want you to listen to this very carefully. Today, Russian citizens were warned of fines for selling what they grow, selling their crops, selling their harvests. Today, Nikita Chaplin, I don't think he has any connection to Charlie. I don't think Charlie is his ancestor. Nikita Chaplin, a State Duma deputy senator from the United Russia faction, chairman of the Union of Summer Residents of the Moscow region, whatever it is, reminded everyone publicly that Russians may be fined for selling their own crops, what they grow. He warned about punishment of gardening and selling. He reminded that the Russians have the right to sell crop products, vegetables, fruits, berries, produce, and their processed products, dried fruits, jam, canned food. However, this must be done in specially designated places and only after obtaining permissions. Voila. The senator stressed that it is illegal to sell crops near the roadway, near the metro station, and transport near administrative buildings and in other places that don't allow trade near. Those who violate the rules will be fined hefty fines. When I read that, I immediately recalled us going to Soviet market, selling our pork in 1981, in 1982, something like that. Permissions must have been obtained, had to be obtained. Risk of prison time, bribes, dealing with the state, dealing with the boys. The circle has closed. I understood today what Vladimir Putin meant by saying the collapse of the USSR was the largest geopolitical catastrophe of the last century. You see, Vladimir Putin was a KGB officer. He was one of the top wardens of Soviet people. Above him was only Politburo, the top of the Communist Party. He and his colleagues were on top of everyone else. They had absolute power over Russian Soviet people. They had absolute power to control people. And when the USSR fell apart, their control disappeared into thin air within days. And they must have not liked it. They became just like everyone else, regular citizens, with quite bad reputation. So the largest geopolitical catastrophe of the last century was Vladimir Putin's personal tragedy and catastrophe. And guess what? Him and his friends, they have come back. Oh, what a comeback. Putin and his friends, his colleagues, his buddies certainly did a magnificent job bringing the USSR back. Look who is ruling Russia now. You will hardly find anyone under 60 years old. You'll have a hard time finding younger people. And who is above 60 years old? Those who had careers, wonderful careers in the USSR. They are back with a bang, right in front of our noses. They did a magnificent KGB operation. People have lost control again, and they are told what they can and cannot sell again. Forget about selling. They are told what they can and cannot say publicly, and that is much, much scarier. Putin has finally fixed his own largest geopolitical catastrophe of the last century. Instead, it's shaping up being the biggest geopolitical catastrophe of the 21st century. It's been done. Friends, this has been my message for today. Thank you so much for coming, watching, giving me a chance. Fantastic to see everyone. Thank you. I would like to invite everyone to carry on into live stream chat. Let me know what you think. Do you agree? Disagree? I'll be happy to answer your questions. Thank you. Before or while I am turning the live stream chat on, I'd like to ask you a couple favors. Please help me spread my message by making reposts in your social media accounts. That helps a lot. Please sign up for my Telegram channel called Inside Konstantin's Russia. The link will be in the description below. If you'd like to buy me a coffee, I'd appreciate it. Thank you so very much. I love coffee. And let's chat a little bit. Just give me a second. I will open a chat in a new window. A little screen management here, as usual. Lorna and Mommy, number one. Thank you so much, ladies. And the mods, thank you so much for showing up. Blackad, Bob S., Harry and Amir. Amir is not with us today, but he's in our hearts, in our minds too. And the usual suspects, fantastic to see you again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My best time of the day when I turn the live stream chat on and I see everyone and we converse. It's fantastic. Thank you. If you want me to read your message and so I can catch it easily, so to speak, please put it in caps and put inside Russia after @ so it appears in a large orange box, just like Bob S. did. Howdy, howdy, Bob. Frank in Texas, Koshkin Dom, howdy. Linda. Julie W. Hello, hello. And everyone. Pamela J. Robert Whip. Good evening, good stream. Thank you so much. That's very encouraging. I'm very glad that you liked it because that's why I do the streams. Eileen, Konstantin, do you think that these new restrictive measures will make Russians wake up a bit as to who they are ruled by? In other words, dictatorship. Thank you for your brilliant streams. Thank you so much for your brilliant words. No, I don't think that these new restrictions will make Russians wake up. I think these restrictions are not big enough. For example, yesterday, a drone smashed into an apartment building right next to the one that I live. And guess what? It didn't wake people up, at least most of them. Mobilization, their sons were taken. It didn't wake them up. These new restrictions are just minor compared to the other big events that happened in Russia. I'm sorry, I wish I could say, oh yes, Russians will wake up now. I would love to see that, but I don't think so. Ann Larson, howdy. Douglas Elliott, thank you so very much. Encouraging words. Howdy, howdy from Hawaii. Keith, howdy. Great to see you. Must be cold and snowy in Hawaii now. Way for you. Hello, everyone. This is my first time on the stream. Welcome. This is a great community and you will find it nice here. But I've been subscribed for months now. Thank you so much. Way for you. And the first super chat from White Lightning. Howdy, friend. Why is it so hard for people to understand that it's possible to love your country but hate the government or certain policies at once? I think it's hard to understand because people don't know this reality. They were born and raised and indoctrinated into a different reality. And it's literally as hard as breaking out of spider's web if you're really stuck, okay? I am lucky. Every day, when I introduce myself, I say, I am the unusual Russian. I'm a hybrid. Because at age 20, when I was young, when I was open-minded, well, still is, but I happened to go to the heart of the capitalism, the USA, and I saw how the state is organized differently and we are the people ruling. Blew my mind, okay? Most Russians have not had this privilege to compare, to have different experiences. I think that's why it's so difficult for them. So thank you, White Lightning. And I see huge support from Jason Carney. Thank you, Jason, again. I don't know what to say. I am very, very appreciative. From me and Natasha, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you to the champion of supporting this channel. Thank you. And Anthony, is Putin really ill? I don't know. I'm not his doctor. I'm sorry. There are rumors. But you know what? I start not believing the rumors at this point because I've been hearing the rumors for the past couple years. Oh, he's ill. He's ill. Well, he is ill, but he shows up full of energy sometimes, from time to time. You know what I mean? He does not look like being ill. God bless you from Florida. Carla. Howdy, howdy, Carla. Florida is one of my most favorite states. Awesomeness crew. Sam K. Hard to disagree with you. Daniel, thank you. Tim Wanderloo. Howdy, howdy. Anna. Hello. Karano. What the fudge? Mafia state is nearly complete. Guy L. It's much worse than Mafia state. You see, Mafia state is when Mafia rules, but it rules underground, in the shadows. In Russia, it has control over KGB, over army, over police. It's legal, and that's crazy. Have Pinda the Peanut, howdy, howdy. Folks, thank you for these emojis that are flying, floating, the hearts and the smiles. Thank you, that they make me feel much better. Thank you so much. Justeri, thank you very much for such wonderful words. Midlands, UK, Marie, howdy, howdy. Dirk Misler, hello. Craig Hawkins, thank you so much for your wonderful words. Scott Nesbitt. Live. In fact, I missed the first 15 minutes. I work a little bit with my 12-year-old BMW. Nice. 12-year-old BMW is a good car. I gave my personal story from my childhood, so you might want to go back and watch it. I think you might find it interesting. Riviere 1862, thank you so much from Canada. Harry, howdy, howdy. Jim Flagg, if you cannot sell things for profit, then what is the incentive to work? Well, I tell you, you gotta make money, you gotta feed your family, right? So you go work for the government, for the state. Right now, there are jobs available, as far as I understand, in the military-industrial sectors. So I think you can go and find yourself a job making rockets that fly and kill Ukrainians. You won't be paid much for that, but, you will have some kind of benefits. You probably won't starve to death. Gilbert, Quebec, Canada. Howdy, howdy. Pacific Beach, California, Charlie B, as usual. Hello. Leonard B, thank you so much from Sweden. Very appreciated. Dave Strains, howdy, howdy. Mods, could you please cheer up a little bit for Dave and post here a link to his website? I recommend everyone go and check it out. Dave makes fantastic videos about trains. He's a model train enthusiast. Fantastic works. I watched his videos with my son Michael, and we both enjoyed very much. Linda, the news tells me that Lukashenko may be sick. He's the leader of Belarus. Right, he's the president of Belarus, since 1984. Nice, huh? The rumors have it that he's sick, but again, it's the rumors. I don't know exactly. I'm not sure. We will see soon if he's sick or not. Way for you, thank you so much for your support as well. Thank you, appreciate it. Edmirth, as a similar age of you, I never trusted Putin. I always view him coming to power as a takeover by the worst part of a terrible regime. Thank you for sharing. Well, you are... how do I post this word in English? Прозорливый. You foresaw. JC0204, hello from Florida. Howdy, howdy. Carla, thank you so much. Cheryl Watley, your report yesterday on the drone attack got a lot of attention all around the internet. Um, I don't know what to tell you. It happened right next door. I covered it, and the rest is history. I didn't really follow up my report. I saw it received the above average number of views, but that's all I know. Koshkin Dome, the new law not strange in democracy. In many European countries, we can't sell things or food anywhere without permission. But in a Russian context, I get your point. Koshkin Dome, thank you so much. You're absolutely right. This is a Russian context, and that makes the world of a difference between, like, compared to the European countries. Pinda, very interesting topic. A lot of pensioners will go on to be beggars. Yep, just like they did in 1991, they became beggars because they were just simply cut off the government support they had been used to for pretty much decades. Now things are absolutely crazy. I hear reports more and more from Russia that prices doubled. They have doubled in the last 6-7 months everywhere, and the pensions, they not only they doubled, they were increased by pennies. Like my mom got an increase by like $6 or $7. She makes more a month now, and then she makes $120. But then her pension amount depends on the currency exchange, right? She makes like 10,500 rubles. Used to be $200, now it's $120. So, and the prices have doubled. So, I mean, my mom is all set, but what about millions of other retired people, the pensioners? My heart bleeds when I think of them. Oi, dead stinks. Question, so the tightening of the country continues. What would be a turning point that Mr. Putin couldn't recover? I think that the turning point will not be connected with the tightening. In other words, he will not tighten hard enough for the returning point. It's going to be either the counteroffensive of Ukraine or his bodies decided that he has enough time, he has had enough time, or a thing like that. But I don't think that that tightening will do the job. Linda, howdy. Andreas, Angie Metcat, my oldest relatives always kept pigs and chicken as an animal lover. Really? I hated it. We sell only one pig per year. Why sell only one pig per year? Because we only had, well, I was little, okay, but I figured, from what I remember, we had one, not too much space for more than two pigs. So we had like very little barn. And always had hard time feeding the pigs and the cows because in order to feed them, you need to grow your grass, and we couldn't do that. So we had to procure grass in the winter and, whatever you feed the pigs with. And so it was like a rotation, kill and sell one pig, the next year another pig, and the other one grows and things like that. Like the circle went like that. And Larson, thank you so much, Konstantin, for sharing your experience of the USSR. I found this message very interesting, and I learned so much more than I had learned earlier. I always enjoy learning. Thank you, Anne. Thank you so much. Gerald Rames, very interesting story about you. Thank you. The grandfather and the club. I still remember that picture. It happened, what was 40 years ago, but it's still as if I'm standing right there. I can smell the smells of that farmer's market, of the market. I remember the sounds around me. I remember the cob. Don't remember his face, but I remember his figure. I remember my uncle, my grandfather, it was such a vivid memory. Oh boy, I was scared. My grandpa was scared. Taught me to keep my tongue behind my teeth. KG1, will communism come back Chinese style? Would Putin accept that system again? I don't. Well, definitely the USSR style communism, socialism is not coming back. Because these people, the ruling class, the ruling bodies of Vladimir Putin, they enjoy being rich. And if the USSR style communism comes back, they would have to be stripped of their money because there's a completely different system. So whatever is in Russia right now is going to stay, making sure that the rich people keep their riches, but there will be more and more control over regular people. So the rich will get richer and the poor will get poorer. So middle class is tiny, tiny, tiny one right now in Russia, and it will disappear. Cheryl Watley, police state. Let me pour a little bit of wonderful English breakfast from the UK. Twinings. It's goodness. It's not breakfast, but Martial law. Will martial law wake them up? Saw 2 news segments about Putin starting martial law. I don't know whether it's gonna wake them up or not. Way for you. Thank you so much again for a pound. Every pound counts. Euro. Every euro counts. Every dollar counts these days. Thank you. Jason Carney has given a sponsorship of this channel. Thank you so much, Jason. Somehow I missed it. KG1, I answered your question. Okay. So Paula W, I don't know what will wake them up. I don't know. I hope they wake up as people in the USSR woke up. Super Rosie, 123. I feel sad for the pensioners who rely on being able to sell produce to boost their income as pensions are inadequate. Seen on Vasya in the Hay. Vasya in the Hay is a fantastic channel, and he gives you the real life of Russian older folks, poor folks. Even my mom watched Vasya in the Hay. I think she watches him regularly. SF Joe, howdy. Long time no see. Way for you. Sorry, I'm new to Super Chat, so I don't know how to add a message. Well, thank you for sending your support, and you can send message here. It doesn't have to be in a Super Chat. Elsha, thank you so much. I don't know if it makes me happy. Elsha, I was talking to Natasha today, and discussed streams with her and, discuss things in general. And she mentioned this. She said, look, there are no happy streams. Are you going to do something about it? What can I do? I wish I had happy streams for you. I wish I had good news, but I've been trying hard today to find something positive, something happy, and nothing. So I'm sorry. I just don't know what to say. I'm giving you the truth, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And unfortunately, lately it's been the bad and the ugly, and very little of the good. The only time I do something positive is on Saturdays, and I decided to give you here and there the bits and pieces of Uzbekistan. Once I did two streams, one from breakfast, one for pilov. I start being bashed for turning my channel into a gastronomical review, instead of political topics, Jack J, is that him or a body double? I have this system. If he shows up and he's surrounded by people, he shakes hands and so forth, the chances are it's not him. Because he sits far away, and then you need to wait for a couple weeks in the quarantine to actually see him and meet him. And it doesn't happen in public. It only like certain people are allowed. So make your own judgment. But think about what I just said. The drone attack is Putin's work if he announces martial law. Exactly. It's exactly what I said in yesterday's stream. If Russia takes radical actions after the drone attacks, then we will know it was a false flag operation. If not, then the question still is open. White Lightning, thank you so much. You could post your family borscht or other food recipe. That would be a happy stream. You know what I should do? I should make one with my mom making borscht. She's not a big fan of, she's always shy in front of the camera. But I think I will make a deal with her. I'll convince her to be shown how she makes borscht. So in some time we will do that. Klaus Asmus, is Lukashenko still alive? As far as I know, yes, he is. He makes appearances here and there. Check the playlist. Putin rebuilding the Great Khazaria. I don't know what he's rebuilding. I think he's made so many mistakes and he's fudged up so many on everything he's done, I think nothing great will be built. James Williams, good morning to you too. I remember the hope Mr. Gorbachev had in the 80s when he was a trade minister for closer ties with the West. Putin been disappointing to say the least. Agree. Thank you for sharing your opinion. It is very hard to disagree with you. Kim McDonald, thank you so much. Thank you for wonderful words. Veronica Mifsad, being a control freak sounds like a mental illness. Yes. Mommy K is a sponsor for 8 months. Marcus Huber, using a double is a problem if he's killed. Very big problem. And I think using double is a big problem in general. Dennis Hayes, thank you so much from Australia, all the way from down under. I worked 10 years in Soviet agriculture. Crazy system, totally crazy, but they were still honest, well-meaning people in regional administrations. Are there any honest people now in Rostov, for example? Well, my uncle hasn't changed much. He was an administrator of one of the collective farms back in the 80s. He's still doing the farm work the same. He has same house, same land, same job pretty much. I don't think people who have lived all their lives in the same village in the same spot, I don't think they have changed much. Okay, if you go back and see the very same people, if they're still alive and active, you will find them unchanged or changed very little. But other people have changed. Okay, so I think that's how it works. Thanks so much for the super chat. EW 1974, I was always wondering why the biggest opposition party left. The Communist Party is mainly supporting and only light opposing to Putin. Now it's clear. My gosh, there are no opposition parties in Russia. It's one party. It's just divided and given different names. It's a game. They all play in a game, okay? They're the puppets. They do what they're told to do. It's just illusion of pluralism. You know what I mean? Way for you. Here you go. I am Latvian. Fantastic to have you here. Every time I see a person from the Baltics, warms my heart. You know, knowing such a difficult history between our countries. And thank you for coming and thank you for joining this community. I was wondering, what do you think are the odds that Putin would occupy a village in Latvia to test NATO resolve? Zero chance. I tell you why why I think so. There was an accident when a rocket flew to Poland just a couple miles from the Ukrainian border, and it fell down into some kind of a barn and killed a farmer, a Polish farmer. And that was a huge scandal. And NATO countries, Poland, basically was very loud and saying, hey, we are calling for Article number 5. Let's get together and let's find out how we're going to respond. Because it's a Russian rocket and this is it. This is the invasion. This is the accident. My God, you should have seen the Kremlin guys running around saying, that's not us. That's not us. That wasn't us. We're being framed. They were really afraid of the NATO response. Because they know that the NATO response, they can barely hold Ukrainians right now. What if the entire bloc of NATO starts striking Russia? It's over in minutes. So, in my mind, there's a zero chance that they will occupy Latvian, Estonian, any village in any country part of NATO. I don't think they will occupy anyone anymore because they're simply not capable of. Linda was a great story, Little Constantine. Yeah, I have many more stories of that. Kevin Creevy, love from Liverpool, UK, the home of the Beatles. Keep your head up. Putin will soon be like Hitler in his bunker dead. Time will tell. Thank you so much. I am definitely trying to keep my head up. Can't go to Dunlop because I'll get tired for 7K. That's a joke. Reports are that majority of poorer citizens in Russia were applauding the drones attacks since many elite rich were in the attacked area. Russian social media and Telegram filled with laughing and jokes. That's true. I have seen that too. I wouldn't say that majority of citizens were applauding, but there were quite some applauds. Somebody said, thank you. Jason Carney has just gifted the sponsorship to 5 people. Thank you so much, Jason. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Ferrari guy, Carmen Marie. NZNOZ and Startup Schroeder are sponsors of the channel, courtesy of Jason Carney. Thank you so much, Jason. And Black Cat, congratulations to Mommy and Lorna for 8 months of memberships. Not gonna cut it, Black Cat. I'm not even gonna say congratulations to Mommy and Lorna for 8 months of membership. Sorry, Mommy and Lorna, I'm just so sorry. Those ladies are so above the sponsorship for 8 months. They've been not just sponsors, but they've been, I don't know, helpers. How do you call it? They've been like a family for 30 months, so I think 8 months of membership is like an insult to them. Diana Smith, if I tried hard to put a positive spin on these new controls over selling food, it may be that the quality of some of what was produced after the relaxation is not up to the standard. No one cares about standards, Diana. No one cares. No one checks the standards. There is a service, but everyone likes their palms to be greased in Russia, if you know what I mean. So forget about standards. With this economic situation, standards are going down fast. Marek Chelko, thank you for gifting sponsorship to 5 people. I appreciate it. Thank you. And EW19874, people like you make the Russian society plurality. You know how difficult it's to speak in a second language for like an hour in a row? Plurality, again, even under current circumstances. Have a coffee or, even better, an Earl Grey tea. I'm having English breakfast, but I like Earl Grey as well. Thank you so very much. Also, another tea I like very much is... I forgot. That's, I think, the best tea I've tried. Something called Berkshire or Northshire, something like that. Anyway, thank you so much. Earl Grey, English breakfast, I like any tea. Any good tea. Let me tell you, any tea that comes from the UK is like fantastic. James Williams, the critics are hilarious. I found the channel when Inside Russia was a Russian travel blog. Don't let anyone tell you what to produce, and thank you for everything you share. James, thank you. This is so uplifting. Thank you. It's much welcomed words. And EW, thank you again. Thank you for wonderful words. Tea is great, but the words are priceless. Heather, ignore the haters. If you want to make food videos, make food videos. The rest of us will appreciate them. Heather, thank you so much. I'll tell you a secret, just between me and you. Don't tell anyone. I don't pay attention to the haters. They don't throw me off. I understand that there will be a certain number of people who will not like me personally, who will not like the way I look, the way I speak, the way I think, the way I present myself, the way I, what my thoughts are. And there are people like that. That's okay. No matter what anyone of us does, is going to be the same thing. So I don't really care about the haters. The reason I did stream 2 days ago, I was reading the comments, negative comments about myself on a different channel, and I felt like all of them were just not true, and I didn't want to appear as a person who ignores and tries to avoid cuts corners. So I basically put all the bad comments and I addressed them, plain and simple, very transparent way. I explained my position, no more, no less. But thank you so much. And yes, you're right, I do make travel videos from time to time, food videos. You gotta understand, I make this bad messages every day, not because I want to make bad messages or I'm a negative person, but because that's what comes out of Russia is freaking bad every single day. So making those travel videos and making those food videos is a break for me, mental break. Okay, I don't do it because I like food so much, and I just do to take my mind off these things. That's why I make them, and I will keep on making them. And some people, watch, and some people enjoy. So that's win-win situation. Yorkshire, there you go, Nick. Yorkshire Gold, most likely the best tea I've tried. Richard, starting to say what the fudge sometimes myself. Okay. Trolls and bots can't spell. Yeah, that's what I noticed. Many messages with grammatical mistakes. They're usually not done by native speakers and by real people, okay? UH, thank you so much. Same here. Ronald, farmers in small communities far away from the city still need to sell their products. Markets are important, or thanks again for your insights. Ronald, farmers, commercial farmers, even small ones, that's a different story. First of all, they have companies. They pay taxes, that's their business. And they have channels to sell. Large supermarkets come and buy their produce, their products. What I was talking today about is people who sell, gardeners who grow things as a hobby and take to farmers market and sell, and there are plenty of Russians who do that. They grow for themselves, and I thought it was the past, way of the past, the thing of the past, but I guess it returned, like everything Soviet. And then some of that stuff they sell. I personally love buying that stuff. That's usually chemical free. Usually person grows for himself or herself and then sells the excess. I mean, that's the best stuff. That's what I was talking about in the stream today. Joan, hello from the little island of Jersey. Love all your insights. We appreciate everything you do. Your English is fabulous. Thank you so much. Not so fabulous, but thank you for your compliment. I appreciate it. My Russian is still better than my English. And my accent is horrendous, I think. Diana, did you know that there is now one farm in Cornwall, the mildest part of the UK, producing tea? Apparently the Chinese think it's pretty good. I have not heard. Thank you for sharing, and I would love to try that one day. Jeffrey S., what mama says goes. What mama says and what the wife says, what the boss says. Dave Strain, sponsor for 10 months. Thank you, Dave. Been here longer as gray guy for a while too. Okay. Yeah, I remember you. Thank you. Southern. Yeah, I remember you, but the gray guy. Yorkshire Gold, that's right. Craig, how about a Long Island tea? Let me tell you. Well, of course, I've tried Long Island tea. Knocks you right out. Gives you bad headache. Gives me bad headache. If I were a drinker, I would probably be drinking it now. I'd be drinking and probably be drinking heavily because a way to cope with the news coming out of Russia. I don't drink. Fortunately, unfortunately, I don't know, but I don't drink. I feel bad. Even if I drink a little bit, the next morning, not feeling good, and I guess getting old. So, Long Island teas are the thing of the past for me. I can't really say that I was a huge fan. I liked vodka martini, shaken not stirred, with Grey Goose, couple drops of vermouth in it. You know, I liked that cocktail. I liked gin and tonic. I liked vodka straight, of course, in my younger days. Grey Goose or Rain from Louisiana, or from Sweden, Absolute is good vodka. You know, but when I was younger, I used to drink everything that burned. Latzi, the misanthrope, on haters, lies can go around the world before the truth takes its boot. Nevertheless, in the end, it is acta non verba by which we will be judged. Thank you so much for the support and thanks for the message. Agreed. What do you think are the next industries to be nationalized in Russia? Ryan, I am making a stream this week on the economy and on industries, how certain industries are performing, not on the numbers. I did it recently. And the new numbers will be out in about 10 days. Perhaps in a couple weeks, there will be new economic streams. But the stream on industries, on health of different industries is coming up. So I will explain in details. Please keep on tuning in. Guy L. British tea is the best as Americans drink coffee. Oh, yeah, I remember. Anywhere you go in America, there's like coffee free. You just pour yourself and drink it. The amount of coffee that Americans drink is just astronomical. Huntington Beach, California. Ron Flores, howdy. Good surfing spot. I used to surf a lot in Maine. Ferrari guy, I wonder how I missed a notification from Zangief. Wow, I have not heard from Vasya for a long time. I hope he's well. He didn't post any videos for quite some time. You know, should get in touch. Jeffrey S. I meant Natasha, not you, mom. Okay, thanks for clarifying. The boss, Natasha, definitely she's the boss, and Mama is also the boss. King of the Clutch. Hello from Big Apple, New York, New York. Howdy. One of the places I really like, Manhattan. When you're in Manhattan, you feel like you're in the capital of the world. There's nothing like Manhattan. Even in Dubai, with so many skyscrapers, nothing like Manhattan. That's one place everyone should visit at least once. Paula W. Other farmers markets in Russia? Yes and no. There are markets, but they're not farmers markets. But farmers still can come to the markets, but it's becoming more difficult. Angie Metcad, I do miss the walking streams videos. I first started watching you because of those. I travel a lot, different cultures interest me. Angie, probably should do a walking video in Tashkent. We'll see. Definitely doing a video of cooking something this Saturday. Haven't decided on that time yet, but it's gonna be later than the peel-off stream, much later. So people will be up in the United States, and we'll do something for dinner. Dave Strains. My favorite case saying is flying stinky substance. Well, you know. New York is the Big Apple. Well, yes, that's what I said. Huh. Ferrari guy, that's interesting. Coffee culture in the US is different now. It's all gourmet and expensive. Starbucks, though breakfast coffee still exists. I remember like anywhere you went, literally there was like a pot of freshly brewed coffee, and you just poured it yourself, or people would offer coffee to you, and it was free, and it was like a regular coffee from a $10 coffee maker. I enjoyed it. I'm not like a gourmand of coffee, coffee is coffee to me. I'm more of a tea guy. I can tell the difference in different teas, but not in coffee. Here for breakfasts, I used to drink cappuccino, but now I switched to tea, English breakfast, because I don't know. Like one morning, I realized I didn't like cappuccino every morning that much. And Sue Wilkinson, howdy, and welcome to Inside Russia. Thank you for becoming the sponsor, and we're gonna be wrapping it up. I'm seeing the signs. Thank you. It's Rhodes, James Rhodes. We provided free coffee for contractors when I worked at Home Depot. Huh. You know, I remember I worked at a construction site for a short few months. My friends bought a huge office building at Portsmouth, New Hampshire, right in downtown, a very old building, and they had a goal of refitting it. There was a company called Aveva, or Avaya. No, not Aveva. Avaya coming in there. And the refitting had to be done very fast, and they asked me to go and supervise a few things. I'm not in construction, so I think I did very little help, but I was helping. And I remember one of the head guys, every morning, he would come in with like a huge box of munchkins from Dunkin' Donuts and a coffee for everyone. And everyone was picking out on this little sweet balls. They're so bad for you, you know. Steven Konstantin, interview chess champion Garry Kasparov. Garry Kasparov, he is leading a change for Russia movement. Well, he's one of the leaders. Mikhail Khodorkovsky, I think the biggest leader. Milov, and Kasparov also. The thing is, Kasparov is a huge guy. I mean, how would I approach him? He'll probably just not ignore me, will not reply. I don't think I have a chance of interviewing Garry Kasparov, you know. What I'd really love to do is invite him to, so he would come over to our breakfast club. That'd be nice. By the way, tomorrow we are having friends from Austria from this channel. They saw that we're on a breakfast club, and then they said, well, we'll come over. They're visiting Uzbekistan, but I think the 1st of June, that's just tomorrow, they must show up at the Breakfast Club. So that's pretty cool. I'm excited. Slajan Arsenovich. Well, you see, you have to take Russian factor into consideration because Scandinavia enjoys different kinds of freedoms. Um, you can't really compare Scandinavia and Russia. It we comparing oranges and apples. Richard Burris, hockey facts, Stanley Cup, Russian-born players Grigory Denisenko, Sergei Bobrovsky, Florida Panthers, Pavel Dorofeev, and Ivan Morozov, Vegas Golden Knights. Okay, thank you. Folks, thank you so much for another wonderful stream. Thank you for great conversation. Fantastic. Thank you for all your support, for the monetary support and the words that are absolutely priceless. I appreciate them. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Invite to everyone to pray with me to finish this stream as usual with prayer. Let me grab my prayer book. Thank you. Let's do it. Dear Lord Jesus Christ, thank you so much for giving us this day. Thank you for putting food on our tables and giving roofs over our heads. Thank you for surrounding us with people who we love and who love us. Please give us wisdom to keep the skies above our children's heads peaceful, and give us wisdom to raise them right, so when they grow up and become adults, they will make this place a better world and will do a good job, a better job than we have done. They will never engage in any wars. Please keep our children safe and healthy for now. Dear Lord, please help stop the bloodshed in Ukraine. Reach out and touch the hearts and souls of people who are responsible and capable of making the decision. Reach out and fill their hearts with love, fill their heads with common sense. Have them wake up from the lethargic sleep they've been sleeping. So they wake up and will see what terrible tragedy they have done. And they will immediately make the decision to stop the bloodshed. Please help every single Ukrainian who has been affected by this terrible tragedy, by the war. Answer their prayers and make their wishes come true. Please send them help. Send an angel to every Ukrainian so the angels keep Ukrainians people out of harm's way. Please help my country, Russia. Assemble the army of your strongest angels with sharpest swords, led by Saint Michael, and send it to earth to get rid of the demons who have hijacked my country. Have it run by the angels and make it angels, and have angels make it good and peaceful. Dear Lord, please help everyone who is traveling. Send them safe travels. Help everyone seeking asylum, especially families. Send help and good people their way. Help all the hungry, the homeless, the jobless, the ones who are losing faith, the ones who are not feeling well, who are sick, the ones who have low self-esteem, who are depressed. Please shine your heavenly light on those people. Send love to their hearts and surround them with your warmth so they feel better about themselves again, they will receive necessary help, and they will have a chance to a happy life. Dear Lord, please help all single women who are struggling, making ends meet. Send help their way. Send good people so they have it easier. Please help all the Ukrainians who are suffering from the Russian strikes right now. Send help their way, any help that they need. Dear Lord, please give us peaceful skies above our heads, regardless of who we are and where we live. We need that very much. Thank you so much for bringing us all into this community. Thank you for allowing us to pray every single day. Please help everyone who is praying or simply watching us pray. Hear and answer everyone's prayer and make everyone's wish come true. Thank you so much. I would like to mention a few people who really need your help. They are Greg, Jim, and Shirley Hall, Delaney and 2 children, Ann Larson, her family and daughter Hannah, Mac's family, Sherry Morin, Patty L, CKOC, Brian Wilkes, Amir's Uncle Dickie, Liz Dumbrell and her grandparents, Ripted, daughter of Aspen English, Ruth, Alona and her boys, Susan, Paul, Rudy Kaisley, Darla, Bip, Santa's Whiskey, Paula McDonald, White Lightning, George Ruberty, thank you for shining your light upon him recently, Dave Strains, Pam, Margaret, Linda Trombley, RT, Per, Sarah Stokes, James Gentz, China Bill, Wayne, Shirley and Debbie, Jen Allen, Finola, Lars Henrik's mother, the Highwayman, Essie from the Scottish Isles, Outlander and family, Chorizo and family, David Porter and family. Enjoy every minute, Lars, Susan Marshall, Beulah, Lazarus, Boss Simon, Alvin's sister, Teresa D., Terry Carter, Joe McMahon, Lee McMahon, Meta Spencer, Deanna and her family, Bree's friend, Caroline, Dalbina Fell, Michael Yukon, Joel, Live, Karin Vasseur, Pinda, Pamela J., Lindsay, Daniel 9, Larry, Yelena, Natasha, Jake, Michael, Oля, Dasha, Sky, Bonnie, Svetlana, Karen, Janine, Michael Milkovitz, Paul Beans, Richard, Mallory M., Dirk Misler, Lynn, Richard Burris, Angelic at Life, and Scan Family's grandson, Randolph, Barb, Nelly, Arkady, and Yuri, Harry's family and Harry, Verlinda's niece, Ian James, Doug, Priscilla, Michelin, King Nero, Gaby Hyman, Donald, Deborah, Lisa's son, Jade Kaltenberg, Brittany S., Allison Dave Moyers, Mr. Hansen, Heidi, Bob, Matt, Ashley and family, Mr. Dean Spooner, his church called Our Savior Lutheran Church, Lisa Kumrian, Jacob, Adam Oliver, Amy, Treasure, Kyle's wife, Maggie, Susie Mailer, Gina, Wayfarer, AMS, Paramedic Liz, Lori Miles' husband, Sherry, Layla, Philip's mother, and Thomas Fall and his mother. Also, I'm asking for special children. They are Cadence, Maverick, Sebastian, Coulter, Theo, Madi, Ansley, and Karin Vassernis. Please help them, send recovery, and send their families strength. They need it. asking for all children of Ukraine and Russia who have been affected by the terrible tragedy, and for all children who are not feeling well, please send them recovery and send their parents strength to go through the hard times. Thank you, dear Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. My friends, thank you so much for coming. Another stream, another message. You're fantastic. I usually say that you awesome and you rock. I think you are above that, more than that. So thank you very much. Tomorrow, another message as usual time. I will try to make it a good one. Please come back tomorrow. And before I leave today, the usual, I invite everyone to say along with me, Carthago delenda est.